My beloved child, something is shifting in the unseen realm, and the air around you is carrying a message that was sealed for this exact moment. On this day, December 9th, a prophetic alarm has been released, and Archangel Michael himself is standing at the threshold of your life with a warning so intense, so destiny-altering, that skipping this message would create a ripple of regret across your entire future. Heaven is not exaggerating. This is a day heaven circled long before you were even born. Listen closely, because God is saying, your money miracle has finally arrived. But here is the trembling truth. Your angel is not allowing you to ignore this message, not even for a heartbeat. There are warnings heaven rarely sends, and this is one of them. Not because God wants to terrify you, but because the blessing heading toward you is so massive, so unexplainably divine, that the enemy has already begun attacking your attention, your focus, your thoughts, trying to pull you away from this moment of revelation. Child of light, Archangel Michael is stepping forward, sword raised, not to frighten you but to shield your breakthrough. He has been wrestling forces that have been draining your finances, closing your doors, and stealing your opportunities. And today, December 9th, he announces that the warfare has reached its climax. What happens in the next moments matters more than you know. You have been asking God, why has my blessing been delayed? Why do I get close, but nothing ever completes? Why does money slip through my hands no matter how hard I try? And heaven answers today, it was never denied, it was being fought for. Your angel hath been battling in realms your human eyes cannot see. Every time you cried in silence, every time you whispered, God, help me, every time you tried again after failing, heaven took record. The financial chains that held your family line, the patterns of lack that your parents and grandparents silently carried, the curses spoken over you knowingly or unknowingly, Archangel Michael has been cutting through them one by one. And now he stands before you saying, your money miracle has finally reached your doorstep. But you cannot skip this message, because skipping it breaks the alignment of your spirit with the blessing that has arrived. Feel that for a moment. Take a breath. Let your spirit catch up to what your ears are hearing. You are not listening to this by chance. You are not here by a random click. There is a spiritual magnet pulling your destiny into position. December 9th is not just a date. It is a divine appointment. Heaven reveals that in the next days, a financial release, one that was blocked, delayed, or diverted, is going to unlock. It may come as unexpected income, debt relief, a sudden opportunity, a surprising yes, favor from someone you never imagined, or a turnaround that seems impossible. And yet heaven says it is already written. But Archangel Michael warns, if you disconnect from this word before it is fully delivered, the enemy will use your distraction as legal ground to interfere again. This is why your angel is not allowing you to skip this. This is why your spirit feels a pull to keep listening. This is why your heart is beating differently right now. There is a money miracle that has been waiting for your spiritual confirmation. And today heaven requires your awareness, your attention, your alignment. Not because God needs permission, but because your miracle needs recognition. Let me tell you what Archangel Michael is showing right now. He is standing beside a sealed heavenly envelope with your name written in golden light. Inside it is a decree labeled Financial Reversal Order. This decree overturns past losses, missed chances, stolen opportunities, and financial pain you have endured silently. He is guarding it fiercely, waiting for the moment you complete this divine message so he can place it into your life. Child, this is your turning point. This is your unclogging of flow. This is your restoration. You've been faithful in famine. You survived storms that were meant to bury you. You've been walking through a valley that drained your strength, but you kept believing, even if that belief felt fragile. And God responds today. Your money miracle has finally arrived. But the warning is serious. Skipping this message weakens the spiritual connection that the blessing needs to land safely. Not because the blessing disappears, but because your spirit steps out of the alignment that is required in this window of manifestation. This is why heaven is urging you stay here. Listen. Absorb. Your future self will thank you for not scrolling away, because the next words that are coming will expose the final obstruction that has been blocking your financial destiny. And once that obstruction is revealed, Archangel Michael will strike it down permanently. Hold steady. Something enormous is approaching your life, and you are only moments away from understanding why this message found you today. Before you move, pause, because what comes next will shake your spirit awake. Type "I align with heaven" in the comments to seal this opening. Blessing code 441 is now active over your finances. Hold on, you will want to see where this revelation goes next. My chosen heart, as you step deeper into this message, the atmosphere around you is shifting again. Something unseen is tightening its focus on your life, almost as if the very walls of your room are listening alongside your spirit. Archangel Michael has not moved from his position. His sword is still drawn, his wings still spread wide, and his eyes are fixed on the spiritual barrier that has followed you for years. This second revelation is not a continuation. It is an unveiling. Heaven says there is something you must understand before your money miracle can fully manifest, and only those who stay aligned long enough receive the unveiling. Feel this moment, because the truth waiting to surface has lived in your shadow without you knowing it. It has watched you try, fail, rise, fall, give, lose, sacrifice, and struggle. And every time you came close to a breakthrough, this shadow rose up and pushed your blessing just a little further away. Today, Archangel Michael says it is time for that shadow to be unmasked. This is why he warned you in the beginning not to skip this message. The moment you hear this revelation, the blockage loses authority over you. For years you have been dealing with something that heaven calls the spirit of financial fog. This fog does not destroy your blessing, but it blurs your path so you cannot see the open doors right in front of you. It makes simple decisions confusing. It makes opportunities appear risky. It makes you doubt yourself even when God is speaking clearly. It whispers fear when God whispers yes. It convinces you to settle for less when heaven is trying to hand you more. And this fog has stolen more from your life than any person ever could. Archangel Michael reveals that this fog settled over your lineage a long time ago, long before you were born. Someone in your bloodline experienced betrayal, loss, or deep financial hardship, and the wound left behind created an opening. Since then, a pattern formed: unexpected expenses, sudden setbacks, opportunities that vanish at the last moment, money that arrives and disappears instantly, jobs that promise but never deliver, people who drain you emotionally and financially. You have been living under the residue of battles you never chose. But hear this part with your full spirit: the fog was never stronger than you. It was never stronger than heaven. It was never stronger than the angel assigned to you. Archangel Michael has been waiting for this appointed day because there are windows of time when heaven permits intervention that goes beyond human effort. December 9th is one of those windows. It is a divine reset date, a moment heaven calls an anchor point. Anchor points are rare. They are moments in your timeline when heaven can rewrite what the enemy has written without violating your free will. This is why God said your money miracle has finally arrived. Not because it is coming, but because it has entered your timeline. The only thing left to remove is the fog surrounding your steps. And that is what this part of the message is about. Archangel Michael speaks now, saying, "You have been walking like someone carrying gold in the dark. The treasure was always with you, but the darkness made you believe you had nothing. This is why heaven has been urging you to stay, listen, and absorb. Because once you understand the source of the fog, it loses the power to cloud your path. You are not cursed. You are not unlucky. You are not forgotten. You are not financially doomed. You have simply been walking with spiritual light that was dimmed but never extinguished. God is about to ignite that light again. Let me show you what Michael is doing in the spirit right now. He is lifting his sword, and as he moves, the air around you shifts like wind in another dimension. He is cutting through agreements, mental patterns, fear imprints, and invisible weights that were never yours to carry. Some of these patterns came from people you trusted. Some came from moments of deep disappointment when you told yourself, "Maybe this is just how my life will always be." Those words became threads in the fog. But heaven is burning those threads today. You may feel something right now. And chill. A heaviness lifting. A realization forming. That is your spirit awakening to truth. Breakthrough does not begin when money arrives. Breakthrough begins when deception is exposed. Listen closely now. The fog operated through confusion, but Michael operates through clarity. The fog kept you wandering, but Michael guides your feet. The fog made you fearful of losing, but Michael prepares you to receive. And now he says the most important line of this entire revelation. The fog ends when you see what was hidden. So let me reveal it. The final obstruction to your money miracle has been a belief that you were not chosen for overflow. Life pushed you into survival mode so early, for so long, that you unconsciously accepted it as identity. You started operating from scarcity, not knowing heaven had assigned you abundance. Whenever blessings came close, that old belief whispered, "This is too good to be true," and your spirit pulled back. Not intentionally, not knowingly, but repeatedly. That belief ends today. You were never created to barely make it. You were never meant to live paycheck to paycheck. You were never born to struggle forever. You carry a divine financial mandate, written on your name in the heavenly rooms, and Archangel Michael has been guarding it his entire life. And now he stands with the decree in his hand saying, "It is time." Stay alert, because what comes next will break the fog permanently and shift your financial reality in a way you have never experienced before. You are standing on the edge of revelation that will change everything. Type "I break the FOG" in the comments if your spirit feels this truth. Blessing code 229 is now released over your clarity and direction. My awakened soul, as you step into this next revelation, the ground beneath your spirit is beginning to tremble. This is not fear, it is alignment. You are moving out of the old frequency of struggle and stepping into the divine frequency of abundance. Archangel Michael has now positioned himself not just beside you, but in front of you, clearing the path with an authority that only heaven's chief warrior carries. What you are about to hear is not merely information. It is the spiritual key that unlocks the vault of your money miracle. In the previous revelations, heaven exposed the fog that has followed your lineage, the confusion that kept you cycling through seasons of almost, nearly, and not yet. But today, something even deeper is being revealed. Heaven says the fog has a root, and unless the root is pulled up, the pattern tries to repeat itself. This is why you have felt waves of progress and waves of setback. It was not because you were inconsistent. It was because something invisible was tugging at the foundation of your life. That foundation is your internal agreement. When heaven looked at your life, it did not see someone unworthy of blessing. It did not see someone failing. It saw someone who was born with spiritual authority yet conditioned by earthly limitations. From childhood, from environment, from the words spoken over you, from the losses you've lived through, you form silent agreements without knowing it. Agreements like maybe wealth is not for me, maybe life will always be like this, or maybe I'm not meant to rise. These agreements were not made out of rebellion. They were made out of exhaustion. And exhaustion can be a doorway the enemy uses to plant deception. But on this day, heaven is rewriting your agreements. Archangel Michael is holding a scroll, and on this scroll is the heavenly version of your life story. Not the story written by circumstances, but the one written by God before you took your first breath. And on that scroll, your name is surrounded by words such as overflow, expansion, increase, provision, recompense, and restoration. Heaven did not design you for scraping by. Heaven designed you for generational blessing. But the enemy feared what you carried. That is why you were targeted early. That is why financial disappointments came in waves. That is why the struggle felt never-ending. Every attack was meant to convince you that your destiny was small. But Michael says your destiny was never small. You simply forgot the magnitude of what heaven placed inside you. And now comes the most powerful truth of this entire revelation. Your money miracle is not simply external. It begins internally. Heaven can release wealth, but if your spirit still believes you are unworthy of abundance, the blessing cannot take root. That is why heaven insisted on sending this message. That is why your angel refused to let you skip it. You are being transformed from the inside out so that when the breakthrough arrives, you can carry it without fear. You must hear this clearly. There is nothing about you that disqualifies you from abundance. There is nothing in your past strong enough to cancel the promise over your life. There is nothing in your lineage that cannot be broken by the power of God. Michael now speaks again, his voice like thunder wrapped in comfort. Child of God, wealth was written for you. You were born to rise. The enemy fought your finances because he could not touch your calling. Let those words settle into your spirit. You were not attacked because you were weak. You were attacked because you were chosen. This is why your money miracle is arriving now. Heaven waited for a moment when your heart was open, when your spirit was listening, when your alignment was ready. And December 9th became that moment. A divine appointment etched into your timeline long before this world knew your name. Right now, something significant is happening around you in the spirit realm. Michael is cutting away the final layer of limitation that hath been clinging to your self-image. You may feel a stirring, a warmth, a heaviness lifting, or even an emotional shift inside your chest. This is not imagination. This is activation. Heaven is removing the identity of lack and restoring the identity of abundance. And now comes a prophetic truth you must not miss. The money miracle heading toward you is not just about finances. It is about identity. When you receive this breakthrough, you will no longer see yourself as someone hoping for a blessing. You will see yourself as someone who carries blessing. You will speak differently, walk differently, decide differently, and expect differently. Because heaven is not merely changing your circumstances, it is changing your posture. But you must hold on now, because the next revelation will expose the exact moment your financial turnaround begins to manifest in the physical realm. You are on the edge of something extraordinary, something that decades of struggle could not destroy. Before this message ends, you will understand why heaven chose you, why Michael was assigned to you, and why your blessing could not be stolen. Stay right here. Something is about to shift again. Before you move into the next revelation, activate your spirit with this seal. Type "I accept my divine wealth" in the comments to anchor this transformation. Blessing code 511 is now active over your identity. I'll take a moment to strengthen this mission. Like this message, share it, comment to keep the word circulating, and subscribe to stay aligned with every prophetic release heaven sends. Your engagement pushes this message into the path of people who desperately need it. As we stand inside this sacred moment of revelation, let your heart hear this truth. Every time you support this mission, you are helping God reach another soul standing on the edge of breakthrough. This is not about helping a channel. It is about fueling the spread of light into places where darkness has been winning for far too long. Heaven says, when you sow into a work that sets captives free, you become part of the liberation. And I hear the Spirit saying, I am opening rivers for those who open their hands in faith. I invite you now, as one chosen for abundance, to step into prophetic partnership. If you feel led, use Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, and let your seed become a divine signal to heaven. To everyone who gives, I release blessing, increase, and supernatural provision according to God's promise. Move in faith and act now. My rising one, as you move deeper into this revelation, the spiritual atmosphere around your life is beginning to pulse with a new rhythm. It is not the rhythm of struggle, not the rhythm of desperation, but the rhythm of divine alignment. Archangel Michael has now stepped into a more active stance, and there is a brightness around him that signifies the next phase of your breakthrough. You are standing at the doorway of a truth that many people never reach in their entire lifetime, yet heaven has chosen to reveal it to you in this appointed moment. Heaven says there is a reason your money miracle is arriving now, not earlier, not later, but at this exact intersection of time. For years you questioned the delays. You wondered why others seemed to rise faster, why opportunities passed you by, why you had to learn certain lessons through hardship instead of ease. But today the veil lifts, and you will understand that none of the delays were random. They were necessary shaping seasons. They prepared you for what is about to come. Archangel Michael reveals that the blessing heading toward you is not ordinary. It is not a small shift. It is not a minor improvement. It is a foundational reversal, and heaven does not release such reversals until your spirit reaches a point of maturity where the blessing can be handled without fear, without sabotage, and without the patterns of the past resurfacing to destroy what God is giving. This is why heaven waited for this moment. This is why your angel did not allow you to skip the message. This is why your spirit hath been sensing a silent urgency. You have been prepared, not punished. You have been shaped, not rejected. You have been positioned, not forgotten. Now listen closely, because this is the heart of the revelation for this phase. Your breakthrough required timing because timing protects destiny. Imagine receiving abundance during a season when your circle was still filled with people who drained you. Imagine receiving opportunity before you learned how to set boundaries. Imagine gaining wealth without the wisdom to protect it. Heaven loves you too much to give you something prematurely, knowing it would bring harm instead of elevation. The delays were not denial, they were divine timing operating in your favor. Archangel Michael shows a vision now. In the vision, there is a long highway stretching ahead of you, but parts of the road behind you are cracked, unstable, or broken. These broken sections represent your past decisions, past relationships, past environments, and past mindsets. Had your miracle arrived earlier, it would have landed on unstable ground, and it would not have survived. But the road ahead of you, the portion you are now stepping into, is smooth, strong, and radiant with heavenly light. This path is a place where blessings can grow without threat. Heaven needed you here first, fully prepared for what is coming. And now, Michael speaks with clarity. Child of destiny, the season of preparation is ending. You are stepping into fulfillment. Feel that. Let your spirit absorb it. This is the moment your journey turns. You have spent years carrying invisible burdens, responsibilities, expectations, silent pressures, and emotional weights that you never spoke about. You worked hard, prayed through sleepless nights, and held yourself together even when it felt like everything was falling apart. Heaven saw every moment. Not a single tear, sacrifice, where silent battle was overlooked. And now you are being compensated for all of it. This next truth may shake you. Your money miracle is not simply payment for recent vows. It is repayment for years of spiritual theft. The enemy did not just block opportunities. He stole moments of joy, moments of peace, moments of hope, and moments of rest that were meant for you. Heaven is now issuing repayment with interest. Archangel Michael stands holding a scroll titled Divine Compensation Order. On this scroll are the areas of your life where the enemy attempted to diminish you. Your finances are only one part of this compensation. There are blessings related to relationships, purpose, confidence, health, and inner peace that are also coming into alignment. You are not receiving a financial miracle alone. You are receiving a life miracle. But heaven needs you to hear this next revelation clearly. Your breakthrough does not begin on the day the money arrives. It begins the moment your spirit accepts that you are stepping into a new timeline. You are no longer operating under the old cycle. You are no longer bound to the patterns of your past. You are no longer tied to the outcomes of previous seasons. You have crossed a spiritual threshold. From this point forward, the way you think, speak, and expect must shift. Your internal dialogue must begin to match the abundance heaven is releasing. Your self-perception must rise to the level of the blessing coming. Your expectations must align with the identity Michael reminded you of. You were born to rise. Something is happening even now as you read. You may feel a sense of awakening, a stirring in your chest, or a sudden clarity beginning to form. That is the recalibration of your spirit. Heaven is repositioning you into alignment with your miracle. What once felt impossible is now entering the realm of inevitability. But stay close. You cannot miss what is coming next. The next revelation will expose the exact shift that signals your blessing is about to manifest in the physical world. And once you see this sign, you will know your breakthrough is unfolding in real time. Hold steady. What comes next will open your eyes. Type "I step into my NEW timeline" in the comments to seal this revelation. Blessing code 990 is now activated over your divine positioning. Keep watching, because the next unveiling carries a depth you do not want to miss. My anointed listener, as you step into this next unfolding, the spiritual atmosphere surrounding your life becomes heavier with meaning, richer with purpose, and louder with divine activity. You are not just receiving information anymore, you are walking into transformation. Archangel Michael has advanced even closer, and the light around him has intensified. It is no longer the soft glow of guidance. It is the fierce radiance of manifestation. Heaven is moving something into your reality, something that has been held in the unseen for far too long. Until now, you have learned about the fog that surrounded your finances, the internal agreements that limited your rise, and the divine timing that protected your destiny. But today, there is a deeper revelation waiting for you. It concerns the shift that happens in the spirit realm before a breakthrough physically arrives. Most people never recognize this shift. They go through it blind, confused, unaware of the miracle forming just behind the veil. But you are not meant to be unaware. Heaven is giving you insight so you can recognize the very moment your money miracle touches the earthly dimension. There is a pattern that always occurs before a divine financial release. It is subtle, spiritual, and often misunderstood. Archangel Michael calls it the divine disturbance. This disturbance is not chaos but preparation. It appears when heaven begins to reorder things around your life. You may notice sudden changes, unexpected closures, strange resistance, unusual emotions, or moments of heightened sensitivity. This is not your life falling apart. This is your old timeline collapsing. A miracle cannot land on an old foundation. Something must shift to make room for what is coming. Michael reveals that before a financial miracle arrives, the spirit realm begins to reorganize your atmosphere. People who drained you may suddenly pull away. Opportunities that were not meant for you may fade. Ideas may resurface with new clarity. Old emotions may rise only to exit your system permanently. Your sleep may feel different. Your intuition may become sharper. Your spirit may feel restless not because something is wrong but because something is being birthed. Heaven calls this the quickening. The quickening is the spiritual acceleration that happens when your blessing is close enough to touch. It is the same sensation the earth feels before rain falls, the same tension the sky holds before lightning strikes, the same whisper creation releases before God shifts a season. You may have felt this without recognizing it. You may even be feeling it now. Michael speaks softly, but with intensity. When the quickening begins, your miracle is no longer on the way. He has arrived. It is simply waiting for final alignment. Listen to that again. Your miracle arrives spiritually before it arrives physically. Your spirit senses it before your eyes see it. Your environment reacts before your bank account reflects it. This is the sign you have been longing to understand. Some of the tension you have recently felt was not confusion. It was repositioning. Heaven was rearranging the landscape of your life so your blessing would not be contaminated by wrong connections, wrong beliefs, or wrong timing. You are being elevated into a higher financial identity, and elevation always triggers disruption. This is why your angel has been guarding you closely. If you misinterpret the disturbance as failure, you may step out of alignment without realizing it. But heaven says you will not miss your miracle this time. You are now aware, awake, aligned, and spiritually in tune. You are seeing what others cannot see, discerning what others cannot discern, noticing what others overlook. You are walking with Archangel Michael's guidance, and he is revealing every hidden layer, every spiritual movement, every shift happening around you. Heaven now shows a vision. In this vision, a large door stands in front of you. It is ancient, carved with celestial symbols and glowing with golden light. This door represents the transition between spiritual release and physical manifestation. Many people stand before this door without knowing how close their miracle is. Some walk away because the weight of the quickening feels overwhelming. Others lose faith because they misinterpret the spiritual shaking as God's silence. But Michael declares this over you. You will not walk away. You will not miss it. You will not be shaken out of position. You will walk through the door. Your entire life is shifting toward a higher dimension of provision. The same patterns that once caused delay are being dismantled. The spiritual fog that once blurred your path is lifting. The doubts that once whispered limitations are dissolving. You are stepping into clarity, authority, and readiness. And now heaven reveals something profound. The moment your financial breakthrough begins to manifest in the physical realm is marked by a specific sign, a sudden moment of forced clarity. This clarity does not come from logic. It comes from your spirit. You will wake up one day, or pause during a task, or take a breath during a quiet moment, and you will sense a shift inside you. Something will feel lighter, simpler, cleaner, almost like an inner release. This sensation is heaven signaling that the door has opened. This is the exact moment your money miracle touches earth. And once it touches earth, nothing can take it back. Michael is now raising his sword again. He is striking the final obstruction, the last layer of delay, the final residue of fear that clung to your financial destiny. You are being repositioned into the timeline where blessings flow naturally, consistently, and abundantly. You are closer than you think, closer than you realize, closer than you have ever been. Hold still now. The next revelation will expose the identity of the force that tried to block your breakthrough for years and how Michael is removing it permanently. You cannot afford to miss what comes next. Type "I recognize" the quickening in the comments to activate this understanding. Lesson code 300 is now flowing over your timeline. Stay aligned. The unfolding is far from over. My steadfast spirit, as you enter this next revelation, the atmosphere in the unseen realm thickens with intensity. Archangel Michael is no longer standing still. He is in motion, his wings extended, his sword illuminated, his presence fierce. This is the phase where heaven shifts from revealing to confronting. Up until now, God has been preparing you to understand your miracle, to recognize the signs, and to align your identity with abundance. But in this moment, heaven says there is something that must be exposed before your money miracle can manifest without interruption. This is the revelation of the adversary that targeted your finances. Most people think their struggle with money came from circumstances, wrong decisions, lack of opportunities, or bad luck. But Archangel Michael reveals something deeper, something rarely understood. Every financial struggle carries a spiritual root, and until that root is identified, the cycles try to repeat themselves in new forms. You have been experiencing patterns, not coincidences. And today, heaven unveils the true force behind those patterns. Michael calls this force the withholder. The withholder is a spiritual entity assigned to delay, restrict, or diminish financial flow. It does not destroy wealth directly. Instead, it creates subtle blockages, unexpected expenses, mistimings, opportunities that appear promising but collapse, people who take advantage of you, confusion around financial decisions, or emotional exhaustion that drains your ability to pursue abundance. The withholder works through interruption, not destruction. Through delay, not denial. Through discouragement, not defeat. And here is the most important truth. The withholder only targets those with divine financial assignments. It never wastes effort on those without purpose. You were targeted because you carry a destiny that requires resources. You were targeted because your calling threatened the darkness. You were targeted because your rise would liberate others tied to you. Heaven says your money miracle is not just for you. It is tied to the transformation of people connected to your voice, your presence, your generosity, your impact. And that is why the withholder fought you so consistently. It feared the ripple effect of your prosperity. It feared the awakening of your identity. It feared the moment you would stop living under restriction and step into your rightful spiritual authority. But that moment has arrived. Michael steps into the center of your spiritual battlefield and speaks. The withholder cannot touch what heaven has sealed, but it can cloud what your spirit has not yet understood. Today, that cloud will be removed. Feel that. Let that truth settle. This is not a moment of fear. It is a moment of freedom. You have felt the withholder's influence many times without knowing its name. Think of the seasons where money came in but disappeared instantly. Think of the weeks where you planned to save, but emergencies appeared without warning. Think of the opportunities that slipped just when you felt hope rising. Think of the people who drained your energy, your finances, or your confidence. The withholder was weaving itself into your timeline, but the reason it could operate was not because you were weak. It was because you were unaware. And now, awareness breaks permission. Michael reveals that the withholder gains strength from three sources: moments of disappointment, moments of fear, and moments of exhaustion. These moments create tiny openings in your spiritual field, and through those openings, the withholder introduces thoughts like, maybe I will always struggle, or maybe I don't deserve wealth, or maybe life won't change for me. These are not your thoughts. They are planted suggestions. Once you accept them, even silently, they create agreements. And agreements give power. But your agreements are being rewritten today. Michael raises his sword, and the blade is glowing with a light so pure that even the shadows around your life begin to recoil. He is not fighting for your miracle. Your miracle is already released. He is fighting for your clarity, your power, your awakening. He is dismantling the influence of the withholder not just from your finances, but from your mind, your emotions, and your future decisions. Heaven shows a vision now. In the vision, you stand on a hill overlooking a valley. In the valley, there is a dark figure with ropes in its hands. These ropes are connected to doors, opportunities, and financial paths that belong to you. Each rope it pulls closes a door, delays an opening, or blocks a pathway. But suddenly, Michael descends with force. His sword strikes the ground, and the shockwave causes every rope to snap. The figure begins to shrink, losing form, losing presence, losing authority. It is not destroyed by your effort. It is destroyed by your awakening. Because once you see the withholder, it cannot manipulate your journey anymore. This is the turning point you were destined to reach. This is the moment when spiritual blindness ends. This is the moment when spiritual authority increases. This is the moment when your timeline shifts permanently. Your money miracle is now entering a phase of unobstructed movement. Heaven is clearing paths that were previously tangled. It is aligning opportunities that were previously out of reach. It is restoring what was taken, increasing what was reduced, and amplifying what was diminished. You are stepping into financial restoration, not gradual improvement. Michael now gives you a final message for this phase. The withholder no longer has legal access to your destiny. The chains are severed. The ties are cut. Walk forward without fear. This is your moment of emancipation. This is your moment of spiritual release. This is your moment of divine acceleration. And the next revelation will unveil how heaven plans to compensate you for what was withheld, and why this compensation will come suddenly, not slowly. You do not want to miss what is coming. Stay aligned. Stay awakened. Stay present. Type "I break the withholder" in the comments to seal this release. Lesson code 404 is now activated over your financial freedom. My deeply awakened soul, as you enter this next revelation, there is a shift happening around you that is so profound the spirit world responds instantly. You may not see it with your eyes, but your spirit feels the movement. Archangel Michael is no longer confronting the shadows behind your financial battles. Now he is turning toward you, fully focused, fully present, carrying something in his hands that has been hidden in heaven's chambers until this ordained moment. What you are about to hear is not merely comforting. It initiates the release of what have been long delayed, long fought for, long wrestled over. Before this moment, heaven revealed the identity of the withholder, the force that twisted your financial path into cycles of delay and frustration. But today, something entirely different is being unveiled. This is not about the adversary anymore. This is about your reward. God is not only removing the hindrance, He is also restoring what was lost, multiplied by divine justice. Heaven calls this next phase the season of compensation. Compensation is not the same as blessing. Blessings are gifts from God's goodness. Compensation is repayment according to God's justice. Blessings lift you. Compensation restores you. Blessings comfort. Compensation recalibrates. Blessings add to your life. Compensation returns what was stolen, along with what should have grown from it. And heaven says you are stepping into compensation, not just blessing. Archangel Michael opens his hands now, and in them you see something extraordinary. A radiant scale, glowing with a light that seems to weigh not objects but seasons, decisions, sacrifices, losses, prayers, and battles. This is the heavenly scale of recompense. When God brings justice into a person's timeline, this scale is activated. It measures what was taken or withheld, and then heaven responds with divine repayment. The scale in Michael's hands tilts heavily on one side. That side represents everything you endured, every moment of financial strain, every opportunity that slipped away, every season where you worked twice as hard for half the reward, every door that closed, every time you stretched yourself thin to support others while receiving little in return, every silent prayer whispered in exhaustion, every setback that drained your hope, every unfair situation that weakened your strength. All of it has been placed on heaven's scale, and now the scale begins to move. The other side rises as God adds recompense to your future. Michael speaks. You are owed more than you realized. Heaven has counted what the earth overlooked. Feel this deeply. You are not just being blessed. You are being compensated. Heaven is not blind to what you survived. Every unfair moment is currency in the spiritual realm, and God is now converting that currency into restoration, increase, and breakthrough. This is why your money miracle could not be released until the withholder was removed. Compensation cannot flow into a blocked system. But now the blockage has been confronted, exposed, and dismantled. The way is clear. Michael shows another vision, one that explains why your compensation will come suddenly. In the vision, there is a reservoir, massive, ancient, filled with golden light. This reservoir represents the blessings, opportunities, provisions, and financial breakthroughs that were stored for you in seasons when the withholder restricted access. Each time something was delayed, heaven placed the untouched blessing into this reservoir. Each time something was withheld, heaven added what was missing into your reservoir. Each time you sowed but saw no harvest, heaven stored the harvest away, multiplying it quietly. This is why your compensation will not come in small portions. It will come as a sudden release. Heaven is not giving you what you lost. It is giving you what accumulated. And now Michael reveals the key truth. When compensation is released, it comes in waves. Not once, not twice, but repeatedly, until justice is fulfilled. You are entering a season where unexpected financial increase will appear in multiple forms. What once felt stuck will begin to move. What once felt slow will accelerate. What once felt impossible will unfold effortlessly. This is the nature of divine compensation. It does not negotiate. It restores. But here is the part you must understand for this next phase. Compensation only arrives where alignment exists. This is why heaven instructed you so carefully in the earlier parts. Your identity had to shift. Your agreements had to break. Your clarity had to sharpen. Your awareness had to awaken. Your timeline had to recalibrate. And now you are aligned. Michael places the glowing scale at your feet, symbolizing that justice has entered your timeline. No one can reverse what God is establishing. No adversary can interfere with what heaven has ordered. No force can reduce what is being multiplied in your favor. Right now, even as you read, your life is adjusting. Your path is widening. Your atmosphere is changing. You may sense a deep quiet forming inside you. That quiet is not emptiness. It is readiness. It is the settling of your spirit as heaven completes something powerful on your behalf. There is another truth heaven needs you to hear. Compensation often arrives disguised as opportunity. This is why discernment is critical in the coming days. Something may appear small but lead to something great. Something may appear uncertain but carry divine favor. Something may look ordinary but contain extraordinary potential. Nothing in this season is random. Everything is orchestrated. Archangel Michael now gives a final declaration for this revelation. You will recover what you lost, what was taken, what was delayed, and what was multiplied in silence. Justice has begun. Take a breath. Your life is entering a dimension you have never walked in before. And the next revelation will show you how compensation transforms into overflow, how justice becomes abundance, and how your financial identity is rewritten permanently. Type "I receive my compensation" in the comments to anchor this moment. Blessing code 612 is now activated over your justice and repayment. My divinely positioned soul, as you step into this next revelation, something powerful begins to settle into the core of your spirit. It is not noise, not confusion, not emotional overwhelm. It is a deep, grounding awareness that heaven is drawing you into the very center of your financial transformation. Archangel Michael is now standing on elevated ground before you, holding a sealed decree that glows brighter than anything revealed in the journey so far. This decree carries the next stage of your breakthrough, and heaven says you are finally ready to receive it. In the last revelation, heaven unveiled the reality of divine compensation, restoration multiplied by justice. But compensation is only the beginning. There is a dimension beyond restoration, a level of financial identity God always intended for you but could not release earlier because the foundation had to be rebuilt. You are entering that dimension now. Heaven calls it overflow. Overflow is not the same as blessing, and it is not the same as compensation. Blessing lifts you. Compensation restores you. But overflow transforms you. Overflow shifts you into a financial reality where you no longer live from miracle to miracle, breakthrough to breakthrough, or prayer to prayer. Instead, you begin to live from abundance, from stability, from spiritual authority over your finances. This is the dimension where heaven no longer waits for you to ask. Blessings pursue you automatically. But before the decree of overflow can be opened, heaven shows you something critical. For years, you lived with a financial ceiling. Not a ceiling built by God, but a ceiling crafted by struggle, by generational limitations, by emotional fatigue, by patterns of lack, and by spiritual interference from the withholder. Every time you attempted to rise, this ceiling lowered your progress. Every time you took steps toward abundance, the ceiling stretched back into place. It made you work harder than others for the same results. It kept you right below breakthrough. It made you feel like you were reaching, yet never fully crossing into the level of blessing others seemed to enter with ease. Heaven reveals that this ceiling was not a single barrier. It was layered. It was built from old identity, old emotions, old disappointments, old patterns, and old spiritual residue. You were living beneath a roof that did not belong to you. But today, Michael places his hand on that ceiling, and for the first time, it begins to crack. Heaven says, you cannot enter overflow with the ceiling intact. It must shatter for your miracle to multiply. And the vision shifts. You see Michael lifting the sealed decree over his head. With one motion, he brings his sword down, and the sword splits the decree open. The moment the seal breaks, a rush of wind moves through the spiritual atmosphere around you. It is not natural wind. It is the breath of divine abundance. The air becomes saturated with the frequency of increase. It feels like a wave of energy overflowing into your life, washing away the limitations that once defined you. Michael speaks, and his voice sounds like it is echoing through eternity. Overflow is not random. It is ordered. It is not temporary. It is established. You are not stepping into a moment. You are stepping into a mantle. That is the essence of overflow. A mantle. A financial anointing. A spiritual upgrade in your economic identity. Overflow means that where you once lacked, you now have more than enough. Where you once stretched, you now stand secure. Where you once feared, you now operate in confidence. Where you once prayed for open doors, you now carry the keys. But heaven reveals one more life-changing truth. Overflow is not given to those who merely hope. Overflow is given to those who endure. Overflow is given to those who survive battles others never saw. Overflow is given to those who remain faithful when everything in their life tried to break them. And that is why you are being entrusted with it. Michael now places the open decree into your hands. The moment it touches you, something internal shifts. You may feel warmth, electricity, pressure in your chest, or a sudden awareness rising from deep within. This is your spirit absorbing the mantle of overflow. Financial ceilings are cracking. Old identities are dissolving. New pathways are forming. Your financial destiny is expanding in real time. This is why the enemy fought you so fiercely. Not because you were weak, but because your mantle was strong. Not because you were ordinary, but because overflow was written into your name since the beginning of your existence. Heaven now shows a second vision. In this vision, you stand under an open sky. The sky begins to rain, not water, but golden drops of opportunity, favor, unexpected provision, and divine connections. This rain does not fall randomly. It gravitates toward you. It wraps around you. It follows your steps. This is the sign of overflow, blessings that locate you, resources that seek you, opportunities that attach themselves to your purpose. And then heaven speaks again. This is the season where the blessing will chase the one who once chased survival. This is your turning point. Michael instructs you to be watchful in the coming days. Overflow will begin with a shift in how you perceive yourself. You will start making decisions aligned with abundance rather than fear. You will notice thoughts of limitation fading. You will find yourself expecting good things without forcing yourself to hope. This mental shift is the first evidence that overflow is active. After this, physical evidence will follow. And now heaven says something you must remember. You will not return to the old cycle. Overflow is an elevation, not a moment. Pause. Feel what is happening inside you. Something is being upgraded that you cannot yet fully describe. Before you move to the next revelation, anchor this moment. Type "I step into overflow" in the comments to accept this mantle. Blessing code 7770 is now activated over your abundance. And now, to keep this prophetic message reaching those who desperately need it, like this video, share it, comment to push the message further, and subscribe so you never miss a divine release meant for your life. As you stand beneath this mantle of overflow, hear this truth. When you support this mission, you are not helping a creator. You are helping heaven reach people whose spirits are starving for breakthrough. God says, your seed becomes a river that carries my message to the places darkness thought it had conquered. I hear the Spirit declaring, that those who sow into a prophetic word aligned with overflow shall receive overflow in return. This is my invitation to you now. Step into the realm of givers who shift atmospheres with their generosity. Use Super Thanks membership with a PayPal link in the description, and let your offering become a declaration that you walk in abundance. I bless every giver with divine increase and open heavens. Move boldly, for heaven is watching your faith in action. My ascended spirit, as you enter this next revelation, something sacred begins to move through the very atmosphere around you. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is the quiet force of destiny shifting into alignment. Archangel Michael now stands before you in a posture that is neither defensive nor confrontational. Instead, he stands in a posture of completion, a posture of sealing, a posture of establishing what heaven has already decreed for your life. And as you step deeper into this unfolding, heaven whispers that you are approaching the moment when the spiritual becomes physical, when the unseen becomes seen, when the promise becomes reality. You have journeyed through the revelations of fog, identity, timing, interference, recompense, and overflow. But now, heaven reveals something equally important: the pathway by which your money miracle travels from the spiritual realm into your daily life. Most people understand that blessings exist, but few understand how blessings travel. Heaven does not simply drop miracles into the earth randomly. Here is a route, a channel, a divine pathway through which blessings move. And your angel has been clearing that pathway piece by piece. This phase is called the corridor of manifestation. This corridor is not physical. It is spiritual. It is the space between promise and fulfillment, between prophecy and reality, between revelation and experience. Many people lose their miracle inside this corridor because they misinterpret the process. They think heaven is silent when heaven is actually building. They think nothing is happening when everything's shifting. They think the blessing is delayed when it is already in motion. But you are not here to be confused. You are here to be awakened. Michael reveals that your money miracle has already entered this corridor. It is traveling toward you now, guided by heavenly order and protected by divine authority. But he also shows that this corridor must remain clear. Distraction, doubt, bitterness, and fear can create temporary fog within the corridor, slowing the manifestation. This is not punishment. It is spiritual physics. Just as a seed grows faster in healthy soil, a miracle manifests faster in a soul at peace. This is why your angel has been positioning you, grounding you, and strengthening you through each part of this revelation. Now heaven shows you a vision. You are standing inside a long, glowing corridor. At the far end, a powerful light begins to move toward you. This light is not simply illumination. It is manifestation. It is the physical form of your breakthrough taking shape. As it draws closer, you can see fragments within the light, opportunities, resources, relationships, ideas, favor, restored finances, cleared debts, and unexpected provision. These fragments swirl and merge into a single divine package that continues moving forward, pushed by God's breath and protected by Michael's wings. The closer this miracle comes to you, the more your spirit begins to expand. You feel anticipation rising, not emotional hype, but spiritual knowing. A deep recognition that something has shifted in your life permanently. Michael speaks, and his voice echoes throughout the corridor. The moment you believe you are worthy of what is coming, the miracle accelerates. The moment you surrender fear, the miracle strengthens. The moment you embrace identity, the miracle takes its final form. This revelation is crucial. Your miracle does not respond to anxiety. It responds to alignment. Your miracle does not grow in fear. It grows in acceptance. Your miracle does not come because you strive. It comes because you receive. Heaven is teaching you how to receive. For years, you were conditioned to survive. You learned to prepare for disappointment, to soften your expectations, to protect yourself from hope. But now, heaven says your preparation must shift. You are no longer preparing for survival. You are preparing for abundance. And abundance requires openness. Abundance requires expectation. Abundance requires the courage to believe in what you deserve. Michael now reveals the next layer of truth. The reason your money miracle is arriving in this season is not only because the withholder has been defeated and the ceiling has been removed. It is also because you finally reached a level of internal readiness that heaven has been waiting for. Your spirit has grown. Your perception has shifted. Your identity has elevated. You no longer see yourself as someone requesting a blessing. You see yourself as someone carrying divine authority. Heaven responds to authority. At this point in your journey, the corridor begins to change. The light of your miracle intensifies. The movement quickens. You feel a pull in your spirit, as if something is drawing closer to you with purpose. This is not imagination. This is alignment reaching its peak. Your miracle is approaching the threshold where heaven meets earth. Michael steps beside you and places his hand upon your shoulder. This gesture symbolizes covering, assurance, and confirmation. Then he declares, the miracle you have been waiting for is no longer approaching. It is arriving. This is the turning point. This is the sacred moment where the prophetic shifts into the physical. But heaven reveals one more truth that you must understand. Manifestation requires space. This is why certain people drifted from your life recently. This is why certain opportunities fell apart. This is why certain emotions resurfaced so they could be released. This is why certain patterns ended abruptly. Heaven was clearing space for what was coming. Your miracle cannot land in a crowded atmosphere. Your overflow cannot pour into a cluttered spirit. Your blessing cannot grow in old soil. Now that the space has been cleared, the corridor is fully open. You are standing at the threshold of manifestation, and the miracle is mere steps away. What comes next will reveal the exact way heaven plans to release your blessing into your hands. You are close, so close that even the unseen realm can feel your breakthrough emerging into the physical world. Stay here. Stay aware. Stay open. Type I am ready for manifestation in the comments to seal this phase. Lesson code 884 is now activated over your divine corridor. The next revelation carries the moment your blessing crosses from the unseen into reality. My spirit-anchored child, as you enter this next revelation, something begins to vibrate through the unseen realms. It is subtle but powerful, quiet but undeniable. You are not merely listening anymore, you are spiritually stepping across a threshold that many never reach. Archangel Michael now stands behind you rather than in front of you, and heaven says this shift is intentional. When the angel stands before you, he is guiding. But when the angel stands behind you, he is pushing you into destiny. This is the phase heaven calls forward movement. You have already walked through the corridor of manifestation, the sacred space where your miracle moved from the realm of promise toward the realm of reality. But now heaven reveals the next stage, the crossing point. This crossing point is where a miracle transitions from being near to being now. That is the moment spiritual momentum becomes physical momentum. And heaven says you are standing inside that moment in this very hour. This crossing point is not emotional. It is not mental. It is spiritual. It is the juncture where the timeline of heaven intersects the timeline of your life. Most people do not recognize this moment. They think it is coincidence, luck, or chance. But heaven says nothing in your life is accidental right now. Every shift, every stirring, every thought, every sudden clarity you have felt in recent days is evidence that you are brushing against the edges of manifestation. Michael reveals a profound truth. Before a blessing enters your physical world, it must attach to your spirit. What you feel right now, the subtle restlessness, the heightened awareness, the strange sense that something is changing even though your eyes see nothing yet, is the miracle attaching itself to you. This attachment occurs before appearance. You are spiritually pulling your blessing into your environment, the same way the earth pulls lightning before it strikes. Heaven calls this the magnetic phase. During the magnetic phase, your spirit becomes a magnet, drawing what God has ordained toward you. This is why your thoughts have been shifting. This is why your emotions have been stabilizing. This is why distractions have been losing power. Heaven has been preparing your inner world to attract what has been promised in your outer world. This is also why the enemy fought your identity so hard. Because once your identity aligns, your miracle accelerates. Michael now reveals a vision. You see a large, golden sphere hovering in front of you. Inside the sphere are fragments of your financial breakthrough, unexpected provision, restored opportunities, supernatural favor, divine ideas, debt cancellation, new income channels, and abundance that multiplies. These fragments are swirling faster and faster, gathering strength, forming wholeness. The sphere begins to glow brighter, and then it begins to move toward you slowly, deliberately, drawn by the force of your alignment. This is your miracle, crystallizing into its final form. Michael speaks again, with authority that shakes the corridor you stand in. The miracle is no longer waiting for permission. It is seeking fulfillment. Those words are crucial. Your breakthrough is not hesitant. Your breakthrough is not fragile. Your breakthrough is not uncertain. Your breakthrough is intentional, active, and committed to reaching you. But heaven reveals something else. You must understand the final barrier that often appears right before manifestation. Most people are unaware of this barrier, and because they cannot see it, they misinterpret it. Heaven calls it the final echo. The final echo is the last vibration of your old financial reality. It appears right before your breakthrough arrives. Sometimes it looks like a small inconvenience. Sometimes it looks like an emotional dip. Sometimes it looks like an unexpected bill. Sometimes it appears as a moment of doubt or a sudden memory of past failures. The final echo is not the old cycle returning. It is the old cycle dissolving. Heaven says, when your past releases you, it often makes noise on its way out. Do not fear that noise. Do not read it incorrectly. Do not assume the breakthrough has been delayed. The final echo is simply proof that the old identity is cracking and the new reality is emerging. It is the sound of spiritual transition. And most importantly, Michael reveals this. The appearance of the final echo means the miracle is imminent. Imminent means any moment. Imminent means sudden. Imminent means unavoidable. Feel that word in your spirit. Unavoidable. Your money miracle has reached the point where it cannot turn back. It cannot be blocked. It cannot be withheld. It cannot be diverted. It is locked onto your name, your timeline, your coordinates, and your destiny. Heaven now reveals the most powerful truth of this entire phase. Manifestation requires readiness, not perfection. And you are ready. Your spirit has expanded. Your identity has shifted. Your alignment has strengthened. Your awareness has awakened. You are no longer the version of yourself who struggled to believe in your worth. You are no longer the version who questioned whether blessing was meant for you. You are no longer the version who lived beneath a spiritual ceiling. You have grown into the version heaven always saw. Michael now steps fully behind you and extends his wings outward, covering your back. This symbolizes protection as you cross into manifestation. Angels do not cover someone unless something is about to happen. Michael declares, the next phase is not about waiting. The next phase is about receiving. Receiving requires openness. Receiving requires surrender. Receiving requires expectation. You are crossing into the moment where heaven releases what has been stored for you. Your life is approaching the biggest financial shift you have ever experienced. The next revelation will show you the exact signs that appear in the physical world when the miracle is only moments away from touching your life. Do not miss what comes next. Type "I cross into my miracle" in the comments to seal this transition. Blessing code 515 is now activated over your manifestation phase. My refining and rising spirit. As you step into this next revelation, heaven draws you into a space that is unlike anything you have walked through so far. It is quieter here, almost weightless, as if the air itself is holding its breath. Archangel Michael is no longer behind you or before you. He now stands beside you, shoulder to shoulder. This positioning signals something sacred. You are entering the moment of recognition. Not hope, not anticipation, recognition. The moment when the spiritual and the physical meet each other face to face. Up until now, you have traveled through the realms of exposure, correction, awakening, and alignment. You have learned about the five that dimmed your vision, the agreements that shaped your identity, the timing that protected your destiny, the interference that sought to delay you, and the overflow that is now active within your spirit. You have walked the corridor of manifestation, and you have come through the magnetic phase. The miracle is no longer forming, it is arriving. But heaven says there is something you must understand before your miracle becomes visible. Every blessing announces itself before it touches the earth. Every breakthrough whispers before it becomes loud. Every miracle creates ripples before it creates results. Most people miss these signs because they expect the blessing to arrive dressed in the extraordinary. But heaven often wraps miracles in subtlety, so that only the awakened soul recognizes them. And your soul is awakened now. You can see what others overlook. You can sense what others dismiss. You can discern what others misinterpret. This is why heaven is revealing to you the signs that precede the arrival of your money miracle. These signs are not symbolic. They are actual indicators that manifestation has reached the edge of your reality. Michael begins to speak, and his voice carries the weight of a divine announcement. When the miracle touches the borders of your life, the atmosphere around you shifts before anything else does. This shift can be felt, not seen. And heaven reveals that you are either in the beginning of this shift or already standing in the center of it. These are the signs. The first sign is divine interruption. This does not look like chaos. It looks like sudden pauses. Moments where your plans unexpectedly slowed down, your schedule opens, or something moves aside without explanation. Heaven calls this the clearing. God creates pockets of stillness so that your spirit can receive what is approaching. When this happens, it is not delay, it is preparation. The second sign is inner acceleration. Your spirit begins to move faster than your mind can understand. You may feel a sudden surge of expectation, a burst of confidence, a renewed sense of hope that comes without explanation. You cannot trace it to circumstance. You cannot tie it to anything external. This acceleration is not emotional hype. It is spiritual synchronization. Heaven is speeding up your internal frequency so that it matches the frequency of your miracle. The third sign is emotional unclogging. Old emotions subtly rise, not to torment you, but to exit you. Past disappointments come to the surface so they can lose their power. You may feel waves of release, moments of reflection, even tears that appear without warning. Heaven says this is emotional cleansing, clearing the last residues that could interfere with your ability to carry your blessing. The fourth sign is energetic rearrangement. You begin to notice shifts in your connections. Certain people grow distant. Certain conversations lose meaning. Certain relationships fade. This is not rejection. This is divine editing. Heaven removes anyone who cannot walk with you into your abundance. You are not losing. You are being protected. The fifth sign is spiritual sensitivity. You begin to feel things before they happen. Your intuition becomes sharper. Your discernment increases. Silence begins to feel meaningful. Stillness feels full. This is because your spirit is detecting the vibration of your miracle approaching. It is like the earth feeling the tremble before rain touches the ground. All these signs are signals that your breakthrough is brushing against your world, not later. Now, Michael reveals another vision. You see yourself standing at the edge of a large body of water. The water is calm, reflective, almost splash-like. Suddenly, without warning, a ripple forms and begins moving toward you. The ripple is soft but deliberate. It is not caused by wind or movement. It is caused by something rising from beneath the surface. And as the ripple grows, the water begins to glow with golden light. Michael says this is the moment when the spiritual becomes physical. Ripples before waves. Signs before substance. Your miracle is the source of the ripple. Your breakthrough is moving toward the surface. Your financial blessing is preparing to cross from the unseen into visibility. Heaven then speaks a truth that pierces the soul. Do not confuse silence with inactivity. Heaven works in silence before it moves in power. This is why your spirit has been sensing more than your eyes have been seeing. Heaven works inward first, outward second. Spiritual shifts appear inside before they appear outside. And now that the signs are manifesting, it means your blessing is seconds from surfacing. Not metaphorically, literally. Your miracle has reached the point of emergence. Michael places his hand over your heart now. The gesture is symbolic. Heaven is awakening the part of you that must receive without hesitation, without doubt, without fear. Then he says, you are no longer waiting for your miracle. Your miracle is waiting for you to recognize it. Recognition is the final key. When you recognize the signs, your faith aligns with manifestation, and your miracle lands without delay. Heaven is preparing to show you the form your money miracle will take. It may come through a person, an opportunity, a divine idea, an unexpected opening, or a shift in circumstances that feels impossible to explain. The next revelation will show you the moment of emergence, the exact point where the miracle breaks the surface and enters your life physically. Stay anchored. Stay aware. Stay expectant. You are closer than breath. Type I recognize the signs of my miracle in the comments to seal this awakening. Blessing code 933 is released over your manifestation awareness. My destined and chosen spirit, as you arrive at this final revelation, heaven leans in close. The atmosphere around you is no longer filled with preparation, nor transition, nor spiritual observation. He is filled with arrival. Something has completed its journey through the unseen. Something has crossed the thresholds of warfare, timing, alignment, and divine order. Something has reached the moment heaven has been guiding you toward since the beginning of this message. Archangel Michael now stands before you, not as a warrior, not as a guide, not as a guardian, but as a witness. For the miracle that was spoken, fought for, shaped, and aligned is now ready to enter your life physically. This is the moment of emergence. Heaven says that everything you have felt throughout this journey, the stirring, the quickening, the shifting, the subtle inner movements, was preparing you for this hour. Miracles do not simply appear, they rise. And rising is a process. First the stirring, then the shifting, then the alignment, then the recognition, and then the rise. You have ascended each layer faithfully, even when you felt tired, even when your hope felt fragile, even when your past echoed louder than your future. Still, you continued. Still, you listened. Still, you aligned. And now heaven responds to your endurance. Michael lifts his hand toward the spiritual horizon, and you see something beginning to break through, a golden arc emerging like the first edge of sunrise. It grows brighter, fuller, wider, pushing against the final veil that separates the spiritual from the physical. This golden arc is your money miracle, fully formed, fully authorized, fully released. Heaven whispers, what was promised is now present, not coming, not for me, present. As the arc expands, you see details within it becoming clearer. Streams of divine provision intertwine like living light. Opportunities shaped by God's own hand glimmer like rising stars. Though you have graded for, grind for, lung for, begin to dig for. Hidden blessings that were stored in silence now move into visibility. Financial restoration, increase, and overflow have completed their journey. Then the arc bursts through the veil, and a wave of spiritual force moves toward you. Not violent, not unsettling, but majestic and full. This wave carries the actual manifestation of your breakthrough. You do not need to strive to receive it. It is already assigned to you. You do not need to chase it. It has found you. You do not need to earn it. Heaven has already written your worth. Michael speaks, and his voice carries the authority of heaven's completion. This is the moment your life shifts from prophecy to possession. Possession is different from promise. Promise is what you hear. Possession is what you hold. Heaven reveals that your money miracle will manifest in one of these forms, or a combination of them, very soon. A sudden financial release from an unexpected source. A breakthrough opportunity that changes your entire financial path. A debt removed, reduced, or resolved supernaturally. A new channel of income that aligns with your purpose. An unexpected approval, opening, or yes that shifts your trajectory. A restoration of something you thought was lost permanently. Or a divine idea that produces wealth beyond anything you imagined. These are not possibility. These are pathways. The miracle chooses the form that carries the greatest long-term blessing for your destiny. Heaven says there will be a moment in the coming days when something clicks inside your spirit, a deep recognition that the physical shift has begun. You will feel it the same way you feel a change in the weather before stepping outside. It will be subtle but unmistakable. You may pause, breathe differently, or suddenly feel a lightness that does not match your circumstances. That moment is the miracle landing. The physical signs will follow shortly after. You will see conversations shift unexpectedly. You will see people respond to you with unusual openness. You will see opportunities surface that were invisible before. You will see impossible things become simple. and you will see provision come to you with ease, not struggle. Heaven says ease is your sign. Struggle ends where miracle begins. Michael now steps closer. He places his hand before your heart and releases a radiant burst of light. This light seals your alignment, locks your identity into abundance, and opens your path to receive without resistance. You may feel warmth. You may feel calm. You may feel a sudden inner stillness. That is the seal of manifestation. This seal means your miracle cannot be reversed, delayed, diminished, or interfered with. It is complete. It is delivered. It is yours. Michael's final declaration echoes like thunder made of light. You will walk in what was withheld. You will hold what was fought for. You will rise into the destiny heaven protected for you. Your days of scraping for provision are over. The miracle has arrived. Take this in. Let it fill you. Let it become part of your being. You are stepping into a new financial identity, a new season, a new reality. Nothing about your past can follow you into this dimension unless you carry it, and heaven has already lifted it from you. Now seal this final revelation. Type "I receive my miracle" fully in the comments as an act of possession. Blessing code 1200 is now activated over your manifestation. And before we close this journey, strengthen this mission and let heaven use your life as a vessel. Like this message, speak in the comments to amplify the word, share it so others may be delivered, and subscribe to remain aligned with every release sent for your elevation. As this miracle rises into your life, hear this truth whispered from heaven. Those who help carry God's revelation into the world become partakers of its blessing. The Spirit says, when you sow into the message that freed your spirit, you join in the harvest of freedom released on others. This is a divine moment to step into generosity that echoes your new identity. I declare that every seed given in faith, through Super Thanks membership, or the PayPal link in the description, will return to you multiplied, pressed down, and overflowing. You are not giving to a channel. You are opening heavenly gates over your own life. I bless every giver with acceleration, divine favor, and unstoppable increase. Rise boldly into this moment and act with the authority God has placed within you. Your miracle is here.